Welcome to the Knowledge for Men show. Your life will never be the same.
Your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development.
I want to die empty of regret. I want to die empty of my best work. We don't understand who we are. Instead, we're living out somebody else's narrative.
What one man can do, another man can do. If it's been done, it can be done again.
Being yourself and being your truest, most authentic self in every moment. If it scares you or makes you a little afraid, do it. Follow your heart and your gut.
The first stage, I think, is finding you, like finding out who I am today.
Stuff will not work. You will have things that fail. Success is when you're a happy, fulfilled person. How do you define success?
It's your life, and you are the creator of the movie script that is your life story.
How would you like to become unstoppable, irresistible, and unafraid in every area of your life? Get free instant access to my Double Your Confidence program to become a person of action, overcome any obstacle, and scale any height. Go to kfmconfidence.com to get instant access to my program. Again, that's kfmconfidence.com. All right, guys, I'm here with Dennis Mayers. He's the author of You Have Not a Leg to Stand On, chronicling one man's journey from happiness to despair and back again. And I can assure you that this book will make you laugh and cry, and you won't be able to stop listening to this episode. Dennis, happy to have you here on the show.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
All right, and Dennis, we kickstart off every show with a favorite success quote or a saying that the guest has lived by, and share with us also what that means to you.
Well, I suppose I've always lived by, you've just got to go on. And I suppose it's been very, very useful just to think of that when I was paralyzed first. Just got to go on. There's nothing else to do it.
You have just got to go on. It's very simple. And is that something that you whispered in the back of your head? Is this something that you've said over and over to yourself on your journey?
No, I think probably when I was married first, we thought, well, we've just got to go on. We've got to take whatever comes up and live with it.
Okay. And now taking this, how has this concept you have just got to go on, how has it served you on your journey? In what other ways?
When I first had the accident, when I was 32, I thought I'd lost everything, really. In fact, I'd lost everything. I'd lost the ability to walk. I was incontinent, doubly incontinent. The only thing I had was my wife. So we just had to start all over again. And we went into deep despair sometimes, but at the same time, you can't leave yourself down in a despair. You've got to come up. You've got to raise your head above the parapet and take it from there. Whatever comes up, you do it.
Yeah. And so you just shared a little bit about that accident. Do I have permission to go deeper into that story, into the story of that accident?
Yes, you can.
Can you share with us what happened and how you overcame that?
Well, I broke my back in a car crash. The driver lost control on a dirt road, and we were in the northern frontiers of Kenya. I'd gone up there to see my cattle, well, my father's cattle, to see that the grazing was all right. And he was a butcher preparing to buy the whole herd. And he was driving along the little dirt road, and he lost control and went to the side, and the car crashed. And I came out through the windscreen and crashed onto the ground, and I broke my back at thoracic number 10. So I was unable to walk, and I was unable to feel anything below that break. So I lost any continence, and it remains like that to this day. I'm permanently in a wheelchair.
And yeah, thank you for sharing that story. I know that's got to be tough to share publicly here. At what point did you realize that you were paralyzed? Was there a period of denial
No, I knew I was paralyzed straight away because there was no feeling whatsoever. And I was told by the African doctor who first found me at a little hospital in the northern frontiers, where they were just all the beds had 2 people in them, really. And I was just lying there on a board, and he just said, "You've broken your back, and you'll never walk again." And he said that to me without any feeling one way or the other, because he only normally dealt with Africans who just accept whatever has happened to them. They just hold it, and that's it. A complete acceptance of life in general.
It's kind of like a stoic outlook, just acceptance
Yes.
of life. And how did you take that at that moment? I mean, the doctor just told you, you've broken your back, you're never going to walk again. You're in pain.
Yes, I was in tremendous pain, overwhelming pain. And I think he had injected me with some painkiller as well. And so I just heard him say that, and I passed out, went blank.
And what was it like for you when you woke up and in the preceding months?
I woke up and my wife had eventually found me. It was very, very late at night, and she had had a telephone call saying that I had had an accident, but the line then went dead. And so she didn't really know where I was. And so she set forth with a friend who was staying with us at the time into the night and could have gone anywhere. By chance, she knew where the cattle were grazing. So she found me in this little hospital. And I then woke up again just after that, and I saw her next to me with a tremendous sense of relief that she was there. And I just repeated what I'd been told. I said, "I've broken my back and I'll never walk again." I think she told me later that she just went to the loo and her bowels emptied. But she came back to my bedside and arranged then. I was coming in and out of consciousness with a friend to come all the way up from Nairobi, which was about 150 miles away. And he came with his Range Rover and a board in the back, and they took me out of the bed and put me on the board and drove me slowly, seemed to be for hours apparently, hour upon hour, to Nairobi Hospital, where I came to. And it was explained to me again what had happened and how the rest of my life would be. But of course, they couldn't tell me in great detail. They'd know that that's how I was going to have to accept it. And it went on from there.
Yeah. And I appreciate your vulnerability and sharing with us the details after the event here of the accident. So I'm assuming that when you went home, there was this a lot of challenge, a lot of depression and
Yes.
and sadness and kind of uncertainty of what your future is going to look like, and the dreams that you had, questioning if they can still become true.
Yes, very much so. It was a question of knowing that from now onwards, I had nothing really, because from hospital I was moved to Stoke Mandeville Hospital, and I stayed there for about 5 months. So during those 5 months, I was taught to try and to get into a wheelchair and move around from the wheelchair in and out of it onto other seats and into a bath, and generally making life reasonable or available to me from a wheelchair. And my wife was always there with me. And so we began to accept that was going to be as it was for the rest of my life. And then during that time, a wonderful woman just found us. And she said, come and stay with me. And we went to her for a weekend, and we stayed with her for 5 years. So that's just a lesson. Never ask me to stay for the weekend. I might be there forever.
And so walk us through how you found happiness again. What did you do? What did you learn from this? And how did you move forward?
It took a long time. It took a number of years, 5, 6 years of just not knowing what one was going to do or where you're going to go. And I took on everything that I thought may be of any purpose. At one point, my brother-in-law saw a little advert in the Times newspaper for a ranch for sale in California. And we just got into an airplane on standby and went to California to look at this ranch. We had no money. I didn't know how we thought we'd ever going to buy it or anything like that. We just to try anything. And that was one of the things we tried. We tried growing apples in this country. We tried anything that we could think of. And finally, we built a warehouse renovated a warehouse on the banks of the River Thames in London. And when that was finished, we had to pay for the renovation in some way. So we had to sell it, and we sold it floor by floor. And with that, we bought an old barn, a derelict old barn that I'm speaking to you from now. And we planted a vineyard, and we ran that producing grapes for the local winery for 15 years. And that kept us going.
At any point, did it feel like it just didn't matter that you didn't have the ability to walk? Did you ever just find a place where I'm actually okay? I'm actually going to be okay. I can find happiness. It's not the end of the world here.
Eventually, it came to be a place where I could live from, a sort of peacefulness. And once you accept that completely, then you can just go on and live a life from the position that you're in at the time. But now it's like that. Now I have come to accept it. And I've been in this wheelchair for about 30 years.
Yeah. Do you think a lot of unhappiness comes from just not accepting their present reality?
Yes, I think unhappiness does come from unable to accept who you are and what you are, and not in the place that you'd like to be. But once you've accepted that, then you can find a happiness. I think anybody can do the same, however badly off they are. And of course, there are many, many people who are far worse off than me, can't move at all, and yet they have found peacefulness. Very, very brave people.
Yeah. This, when you say that, people have had it worse off than you. I think of Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, where in his book, Viktor Frankl, for those who haven't read it, survived Auschwitz in the concentration camps in World War II, and he became a psychotherapist. And one of the things that he shared was his concept of logotherapy, where if you attach a different meaning to a crisis or some extreme circumstance, then you can change that reality by giving it a new meaning, and you could significantly reduce the trauma or pain of that event. And it seems like
you're absolutely right.
Yeah. It seems like that's something that, definitely anyone can apply, but something that on your story, in your journey that you have applied.
I think so. Yes, I think so. I'm definitely more at peace now than I certainly was when it first happened. And I think now I'm completely content. We live in a lovely place, and my wife is with me, and it doesn't matter what has happened in the past. It's just something that has, and it's just an experience. I'm not worried about it and don't think about it in horror, or I can talk about it. And so I accept it completely now.
Yeah. And what advice would you give someone who just went through a type of traumatic, life-altering experience?
I would say dwell on it as much as you like and think it through, and then know that that's going to go on. There are people who have been and are in a much worse position than you are, and just accept it for what it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting from just this whole interview so far is acceptance, is just acceptance, complete acceptance, and then moving on from that.
You have to. Yes, there's nothing else you can do but accept what has happened. And that applies to anyone who's been in any trauma. It's very easy to say now, but I know that how awful it is to be traumatic. And it does take a long time to come to the acceptance of it. But slowly you have to just think that has to be, because there's no other way out.
Yeah. Yeah. And on this journey of recovery, did you seek out support? Was therapy helpful? Were you reading books on this type of situation? What did your journey look like to recovery?
I was very, very fortunate in that I had my wife with me and this wonderful woman called Marriott White. She found us, and she just took care of us until I managed to stand, metaphorically, on my own 2 feet. And she just enabled us to do that. And she was there all the time. Didn't matter how long it was taking. She was just there to just prop us up and enable me to live and find a new life.
Yeah, got it. That was a very powerful support resource. This has been, really good here. I'm getting so much, just learning to accept our present reality is so important. I want to now dive into a section of the show I call the knowledge round. Just going to ask you some rapid fire questions here.
Yes.
All right. After 200 plus interviews, I've identified the most common trait of success as confidence. Whether you're trying to achieve financial freedom or improving your relationships, confidence is what separates those who get what they want in life and those who don't get what they want in life. So before a man sets out on his journey, it's important that he has the confidence in himself to accomplish his goals and his dreams. You have to have this area of your life taken care of in order to create the life that you want. That's why I've created a free program to double your confidence in less than 30 minutes with this weird but simple set of exercises. Go to kfmconfidence.com. Again, that's kfmconfidence.com to transform your life. Welcome to the Knowledge Round, where the guests will be asked rapid-fire questions to give the audience invaluable pieces of wisdom to help transform their lives. Starting in 3, 2, 1, showtime. The first question I have for you is, what advice would you give to someone who's feeling lost or unsure of what they should be doing?
I think they have to break it down into small pieces and go through that piece until it fits together with the next piece. And then if you have a whole, then you'll know where you are and how to deal with it. And when you have a whole, then the next piece to put together is what to do next. And put that with the next piece. And slowly, you will have the whole thing.
I like that. Idea there. And Dennis, what was holding you back from becoming the man you are now today?
I hadn't worked it out. I hadn't put all the pieces together. And I didn't know I hadn't all the pieces together, but I wasn't happy or peaceful in any way. And finally, I realized that I've got to think the whole thing through and put it together as one picture, like a puzzle. When you finally find the last piece, you put it into the puzzle and it's a whole picture.
Yeah, I like that. It's interesting how we think we got it figured out, but then we're really just getting started. And
yes.
What would you say are 2 or 3 of your most influential books that you've read on your journey, and why?
That's very difficult to say, really. I can't think offhand of a particular book. I had to write my own book. That helped a lot by writing it all down, because it seemed to be getting worse and worse. But if I started again and wrote it all down, piece by piece, then you can refer back to it.
It kind of helps you understand your own journey when you write it down.
Yes. I could then read through it, and not that I'm promoting my own book as the answer to doing anything, but I think you do have to break it all down as if you are going to write it down, and then if you have to, that's even better. Then you've got it there in front of you.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, and this one's more of a scenario here for you, Dennis. So imagine you had 60 seconds with your 25-year-old self. What would you tell 25-year-old Dennis to do, and what would you tell 25-year-old Dennis not to do?
Well, it's interesting you should choose that age, because one of the people I admire in history is Pitt the Younger, and he became Prime Minister of this country at the age of 24 in, I think it was 1804. He was Prime Minister for 4 years, and he was only 24 years of age. So I think I'd say myself at 25, just begin to grow up. And what I did there, in thinking back, it's just awful, really. I was so haphazard. I hadn't worked out of anything in life that I should be serve any purpose for or anything. I would just say, just get down to doing something of some use as soon as you can. I don't think there's anything else I can say really about to myself.
Yeah.
Just get on with it.
And what are the benefits when you do something of use, when you do move on with it?
Then you, once you've started, you realize that you've just got to think of the next thing that benefits you and slowly do it, and think of other people. That's very, very important, to think of the effect that you're having to the people who are closest to you around you, and start thinking of them and putting yourself second. Put somebody else first.
Yeah, I like that. What would you say is your philosophy on life and success?
Life and success is transitory. And so whatever comes to you, just be grateful and don't dwell on it as a great aim in itself. Just think of the other people around you, put them first, and accept with gratitude what you have done so far and what have you been able to do, because probably others have done that to you as well. They have enabled you to be successful.
Yeah. What did you mean by others have done that to you?
I meant that others have enabled you to get as far as you are now. Without them, you can't have done anything.
Yeah. Okay. Bringing it together now. And that's a powerful session here in the knowledge round. And so now I'm just interested, turning it back over to you here. What's exciting you now today? What's getting you out of bed in the morning?
Well, I've come to a stage where I've completely accepted what I have to do, and getting out of bed in the morning requires an awful lot of things that you would never imagine that you ever had to do when you were younger. But you just have to do it. And I'm 72 now, and we plan to go places, and we get together, and there are friends who come with us, and we do all sorts of things that one would never do normally. My family still live in East Africa, and we talk to them on Skype, and we want to go and see them, and my family are here as well. And so there's an awful lot of life left. The more you do, the more there is.
I like that. The more you do, the more there is.
Yeah.
That's great. It's the title of a book, Dennis. That's really good.
It could be. Could well be.
I think it is.
Yeah.
All right. So for those listening here, you can go on Amazon and get his book, You Have Not a Leg to Stand On Amazon. It pops right up. D.D. Mayers is what the author title is under. It's available in Kindle and paperback. You Have Not a Leg to Stand On. Well, Dennis, thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing your story here on the Knowledge for Men podcast, and being, courageous and sharing the challenges that you've gone through and overcame. And so I honor that.
Well, thank you very much indeed for ringing, and it's been very nice to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Knowledge for Men podcast. Hundreds of interviews and millions of downloads later, we're continuing to build an international movement, and we're just getting started. So if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and leave a helpful review in iTunes, because it really helps the podcast grow so we can impact even more men in the world who need this. Guys, this is all about living with purpose, where every day you only do things that matter to you. You wake up, live with purpose, and take massive action towards the life you want. And always remember, love the life you have while creating the life of your dreams. Go to kfmfree.com to get a surprise bonus I've made for my listeners. Again, that's kfmfree.com for something that's changed my life, and I'm offering it to you for free. Also, check out my Amazon best-selling books that I've written for you to help you crush life at kfmauthor.com. Again, that's kfmauthor.com to see all the books I've created to help you break through in life. This is your host, Andrew Farabee, founder of knowledgeformen.com, and I'll see you in the next episode.